So I'm going to get us started and we'll go through our first community engagement webinar of 2025. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mike Saramella. I'm the Seafood Safety and Technology Specialist with New York Sea Grant. As of September of 2024, I'm serving as the Director of the Seafood HACCP Alliance. And since early 2024, I've been chair for the community engagement work group within the Seafood HACCP Alliance, engaging many members of our seafood community to provide and ensure that we're actively communicating and engaging with the seafood community, which includes all of our Seafood HACCP Alliance trainers, as well as industry agency and associations that are engaged in seafood and seafood safety. So today's webinar is really focused on an update from the executive committee and the various work groups that are operating within the executive committee. So we'll start with some administrative updates overall. So keep an eye out for a new trainer directory. AFTO is in the process of finalizing that directory so that participants can find and identify trainers across the country, reach out and inquire about trainings that you have coming up or private trainings they might like to work with you on. You'll see an email from AFTO requesting you update and ensure that information is accurate. So keep an eye out for that to come in hopefully the next few months. We'll also be seeing some updates on our supplemental training courses. We'll have a little bit of an update during the work group updates today, but keep an eye out for the SCP updates, a new aquaculture supplemental training, and a new importer supplemental training that trainers will be able to offer. Keeping in mind that there will be train-the-trainer opportunities available to be able to teach those trainings, most likely low cost, if any cost, and there'll be virtual opportunities to get yourself up to speed on the new training curriculums and how to effectively deliver them as a Seafood HACCP Alliance qualified trainer. We're also announcing today that we'll be transitioning into use of digital training evaluations, right? So currently there's only evaluation requirements attached to virtual trainings. We will be removing that requirement. You no longer be required to submit training evaluations with your course closeout paperwork. But moving forward, all trainers will be encouraged to share a slide as well as a link and/or QR code with participants to complete a digital evaluation. This is really to help the Alliance better manage and assess the evaluations, especially comparing evaluations over multiple courses and over the course of the year. The current format makes it very challenging to actually look at those as a whole. And so we're hoping that this will help us to better assess and evaluate all trainings. That's also going to be an integral part of our audit process, which we'll touch on very briefly later today for our audit work group. I want to also remind folks of some of the dates and upcoming changes. We did touch on these and announce these in a previous webinar, but September 1st, 2025 is the next date to be aware of. That is the day that the certificate fee for basic training courses is going to increase to $60. That is also the day that there's a change in what you can accept as a segment 1 proof of completion. And I'll go in a little bit more detail on that one now. So currently we have our notice of segment 1 completion, which is this PDF that you see here. As of June 1st, 2024, we started to issue these notices of segment 1 completion, right? To anyone enrolled in the course. That was as we transitioned to partner with eCornell and to automate some of these processes. This can be accepted as proof of admittance to a segment 2 training if it is dated within 9 months of your segment 2. Anyone who submits a notice of segment 1 completion, right, you do not have to pay or collect a certificate fee to AFTO to have that certificate issued. In that transition, we started to collect the certificate fees as part of the segment 1 online course registration fee. So anybody, again, who provides this notice of segment 1 completion to you upon completing or for completing your segment 2 trainings, you do not need to pay that $50 certificate fee. We are collecting the $60 certificate fee, right, for that to accommodate that increase, which again, you will see associated with basic courses starting September 1st of 2025. This is the course completion email, right? So our course completion email was what we were issuing to confirm completion of segment 1 prior to June 1st of 2024. You can also accept this course completion email for admittance into your Segment 2 trainings as long as it's dated within 9 months of that Segment 2 training. After September 1st, 2024, that date is the 9-month mark after we issued the last course completion email, right? So at that point, all course completion emails should be more than 9 months from the date of your training, right? So you should no longer be selecting or accepting course completion emails from participants to participate in your Segment 2 trainings, right? Now, where it gets a little challenging is when you're processing your AFTO paperwork, your course closeout paperwork, if you have any participants using a course completion email as proof of completion of Segment 1, you will still need to collect and pay AFTO that $50 certificate fee, right? So we're honoring that $50 certificate fee. That's not changing. You will have to pay that for anybody who provides that course completion email, because their certificate fee was not collected when they registered for Segment 1. Anybody with our notice of Segment 1 completion, we collected those certificate fees in the registration fee for Segment 1, and that is paid directly to AFTOS. Instructors will no longer have to pay for those issuing. Also with that, on September 1st, 2025, ideally no more payments are necessary for issuing certificates for Segment 2, because everyone will have those notices of Segment 1 completion. So again, quick update recap on the payment structure and what's changed. June 1st, 2024, we launched Segment 1 with our partners at eCornell. The price changed to include the certificate fee. December 1st, 2024 was when the last completion email was issued from seafoodhaccp@cornell.edu, right? So the last one was issued December 1st. 9 months from December 1st was September 1st, 2025. That's the date that you should not be accepting course completion emails for entry into your Segment 2 trainings, and only notices of Segment 1 completion are accepted. Again, those notices of Segment 1 completion mean you do not have to pay AFTO to issue those certificates. All right, so now we'll jump into our work group updates, and we'll start with Doris. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat or the Q&A, and save them for the end, and we'll open it up. Doris.
Okay, I'm Doris Hicks, for those of you who may or may not know, and I've been with AFTO for many years. And currently, I am in charge of the Train the Trainer Committee, which is composed of Christina DeWitt from Oregon State University and Jason Bolton with the University of Maine. And we work very closely with AFTO. Daphne is the go-to person for registering and getting all the paperwork done and helping us set up Train the Trainer. One of the new items for this year's Train the Trainer, which is coming up in April 9, 10, 11. The registration closes this Friday, but we're going to extend it. We know people are in the process of trying to get permission to come, and registrations are up to about 16 people. And so we are in the process of continuing to accept applications. Another piece that is changing with this year's course is the sanitation control procedures, Train the Trainer part of it. We're no longer going to offer it as part of Seafood HACCP Train the Trainer, and it will be a separate course with its own Train the Trainer portion and new slides, and that is something that you need to watch out for. At this point, if anybody has questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Or was there other thing? Oh, yeah. It's going to be a great course this year. We have a lot of new information, and typically students are very excited to learn how to run their own courses.
Thanks, Doris. And the link on the screen now is the registration, or the link to the website where you can find information on the training, the location, the logistics, and the registration. Again, feel free, add questions to the chat and we'll get to them as we get through at the end of the updates.
There's one
editorial-
question there
Ooh, you got it.
about whether or not the current trainers will still be trainers, and yes, that credential remains. You just, this next train the trainer for the 3-day course, segment 2, will not change either. It'll just be for that group. And new sanitation course will be the place to become a train the trainer for that.
Yeah, so you will need to participate in a new Train the Trainer course to offer the new and updated the sanitation control procedures course. Specifics on that have not been finalized yet because they're still in the process of doing it. But you will need, as an existing trainer, in order to continue, once we officially launch the sanitation control procedures updated training, you need to revisit that Train the Trainer specifically for that, not the full HACCP Train the Trainer just for that sanitation control procedures, which will be a much abridged version of that, just to introduce you to the new material, the new activities, and everything that's been updated and included in that new course. All right, thanks, Doris. All right, so next, editorial work group. So editorial work group is the group that works on updating the curriculum and the Blue Book. The editorial work group is currently not going through any major updates or revisions. They just launched and released the new Blue Book that is currently available digitally on the Florida Sea Grant website. And in the next few weeks, it will be available via hard copy as well. All right. Editorial next would be models. Doris again.
Okay. All right. The models work group has been working very hard. We have updated all of the models. They have not been posted to the Florida website because we need to incorporate it into the formatting, and hope to be able to do that shortly. And another piece that will eventually be incorporated into the protocol is the process if someone wants to offer up ideas for any new models.
Great. Thanks, Doris. And I did note in the chat, there is no official date for when the new Train the Trainers will be available. Again, they're still in progress finalizing those new supplemental trainings. Once they've finalized and are ready to launch. And just a quick update on the process for that. So there's work groups are working on developing these trainings. They then need to offer these trainings or put the executive committee through a Train the Trainer. The executive committee then provides additional feedback, insights, or changes they think are necessary for that training. And then the official training is released and launched, and then we'll offer and set dates for the public Train the Trainers. Okay. So next up is our presentations work group with Razia.
Hi. Hi, everyone. My name is Razia Farzad. I'm an assistant professor and seafood safety extension specialist at the University of Florida and Florida Sea Grant. And I am leading the presentation and translation work group. So you just heard Michael said that the editorial work group, the whole team, we worked together, we updated the Blue Book. So naturally, we wanted to update all the slides to reflect the changes that we made in SGR 137. So that's what we did in the past couple of months. Me and a group of amazing people, we went through the segment 2 slides and basic slides, and we update those. So the content is updated to reflect the Blue Book. At the same time, Michael developed this new template. So we wanted to be consistent. We wanted all of our training material to be consistent. So we transferred all of the slides to this new template. And we highly encourage everyone to use this template when you have a flexibility to change the font size and all of those things. But we hope that everyone continue using the template that we offer for these classes. Also, what we did, which I think was huge, if you have been teaching these classes for a while, you know that the basic training was all in a screenshot. So what we did, we changed everything in a Word format. It still looks like the blue book, but I hope it makes it easier for the trainer to use the slides when they are teaching. As I said, or maybe I didn't say it, these slides have been updated on our Florida Sea Grant website. I already put the link in the chat. Feel free to check those out. And I put my contact information on the last slide. So feel free to send me the feedback, anything that you think might need to change. And we work together and try to incorporate those if we think it's relevant, obviously. And I don't have anything else about presentation work group, but if you have any question, I would be happy to answer those.
And Razia, there was a question referring to translations, but we'll get to that when we get to translation work group. But then the last question, Claudia, with can I give the trainings in the actual edition? I assume you mean, can you continue to use the current edition? Yes, the training updates to the curriculum were fairly minor, so it is okay to continue using that original blue book for your trainings. But ideally, once it's available, both digitally and hard copy, you should be transitioning to using that new updated version. All right. Okay. Going. Translations.
Okay, it's me again. So nothing specific about translate. We still have the Spanish translation of the book available for the SGR 129, the gold book, the English, available on Florida Sea Grant website. And that's the only update that I have about that. Somebody asked about the blue book. To be honest, don't know the answer to that question. Maybe Mike can chime in and answer that question.
For when it will be available in Spanish?
Yes, I don't think we don't have any estimation, I guess, or we haven't discussed it yet. It depends on availability of funds and all of those things.
Yeah, we'll discuss internally and get back with dates. We don't have a firm timeline with that one just yet. All
Okay.
right.
So let me, and also Scott asked for the link. So if you go, I just sent the link again in the chat. If you go at the bottom of that page, you see that we have the basic Seafood HACCP and also Seafood HACCP segment 2. And I have the basic one was revised in January, the final version January 2025, and segment 2 was December 2024. So if you cannot find it, let me know and maybe we can show you exactly where it is.
All right. Thanks, Razia. All right, so next is our segment 1 update work group. I'm chair for segment 1 update work group. The update that we're currently going through for segment 1 is essentially just comparing the updates that were just made to the blue book, the curriculum, and ensuring that all of the content in the segment 1 update work group is accurate based on those changes. So our work group members are currently working hard to go through and identify any changes that need to be made in the online course based on what was changed in the blue book. And my plan now is hopefully to have those edits and have them incorporated into the online course and available to students by mid to late April at the latest. All right, so as long as we have no more hiccups, then we should be good to go with the new updated course in there. Again, the updates are minor, so there's nothing significant that's changing, but we are working towards making sure that the blue book and the online course are consistent in terms of language and content. The only other thing I'll note there with segment 1, as you all know, and I announced earlier, we did transition the segment 1 course into the eCornell Canvas platform. So that partnership has had some bumps along the way. So there have been some challenges with the automation and the training, the proof of segment 1 completion, or that notice of segment 1 completion being generated. If any of your participants are having trouble or issues with that, please just have them reach out to us at seafoodhaccp@cornell.edu and we can assist and get that moving. All right. All right. aquaculture training work group. So our chair for this work group is Lisa with the National Fisheries Institute. Lisa couldn't be on the call today, so I'm going to give a quick update. Again, this is the aquaculture HACCP training. So this is really a more in-depth training going into the nuances of developing a HACCP plan or food safety plans for aquaculture products specifically, providing a lot more insight and detail on those hazards that are specific to farm product, like environmental chemicals and aquaculture drugs, and helping to unpack the really complex HACCP systems that the book really provides in, or the hazard guide really goes through. So they're in progress with that update. They're planning to launch this year. And so we'll announce the virtual train the trainer once those dates are available for folks to be working on. All right. And again, that's specific. It's not for aquaculture producers necessarily, although they're welcome to participate. It's for processors purchasing and sourcing farm product and understanding how to develop HACCP plans that address those specific aquaculture specific hazards. The next, our importer training work group, our chair for that is Steve Bloodgood with FDA. Unfortunately, our federal partners can't engage at the moment, so I'll give you a quick update. That is in progress. They're working closely with our agency partners to develop that curriculum. I'll note that for the importer and aquaculture training work groups, it's not going to be a standard official curriculum like you see with our HACCP training. It's more going to be slide decks with instructor notes, right? So those are the formats you can expect to see for many of these supplemental trainings. There will still be a curriculum associated with that sanitation control procedures course. Again, virtual training trainer is coming soon, but we'll announce officially once they're closer to finalizing that. And again, as I mentioned earlier, that process is they need to present that to the executive committee, get additional final feedback, and then it'll be available to the public to start offering as an additional training for their participants. All right, SCP training. Again, this is supplemental training being updated. Existing trainers teaching SCP can continue to teach that SCP course until the new course is launched. There will be a train the trainer course for you to get up to speed on what was changed. I know there's quite a lot of changes going into this course, especially with regards to the activities and the interactive components. So more to come on that from the SCP training work group. I know they're getting out the different chapters of the curriculum for internal review, and then that will go out once those are available, and you'll get more information on that train the trainer option and how you can engage. But as Doris said, this is no longer part of the Seafood HACCP train the trainer. This will be a separate train the trainer moving forward. All right, protocol work group, Claudia.
Yeah. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at. Yeah, so the protocol work group, what we've been tasked to do is to combine the various training protocols, the HACCP train the trainers, the basic training, the segment trainings, the import training, the aquaculture training. So we've been reviewing the document, making sure we're updating the terminology, making sure that the registration forms are consistent with the protocols consistent with what our practices are for registration. And we have one more update that we'll be going through with some suggestions that Michael has just given us, especially after I just had another call, and we will get this out and available hopefully within the next couple weeks.
Thanks, Claudia. All right, so course audit work group, Jason Bolton, University of Maine, is the chair for that work group, but couldn't join our webinar today. So we've gone through the audit protocol, and that protocol is being incorporated into the full protocol by Claudia. And that is basically kind of revising and refreshing the auditing policy to kind of streamline it, make it a little easier and consistent, and ensure there's active communication and steps for auditing courses, and also especially when there's a need to take higher action in terms of deviations from training curriculum and deviations from the training protocol itself. So those are going to be launched and released with the new protocol. Once those are relaunched and released, that's when those audit policies and protocols will start to be enforced. And again, I mentioned earlier, some of the evaluation components that we're putting in there are going to be a key component of that audit process, and being able to evaluate how trainings are going across the broad breadth of trainers we have in the Alliance or through the Alliance. The last work group is our community engagement work group. Again, I'm the chair for our community engagement work group. You have, and you're on our first webinar for that right now. Our next webinar is going to be scheduled for May. You be on the lookout for an update, a registration link so that you can start registering. We're working on finalizing the topic to be covered there. If there is a particular topic you are very interested in learning more about or hearing from through the Alliance, feel free to send me an email directly, put it in the chat, or reach out to let us know. But I do want to announce that as part of the community engagement work group, we've decided to try out an informal social gathering for our community at the Seafood Expo North America this year in Boston. That is going to be on March 16th. So that's Sunday, the start of the Seafood Expo at the Sam Adams Brewery in downtown. Again, with our follow-up to this webinar, we'll send out an email with the link to the recording, and we'll have some more information about that. We will be putting in an RSVP, so we ask if you are going to participate to just let us know. That way I have a sense of if I'm waiting for anybody and who I might be waiting for if I'm there at Sam Adams in Boston on the 16th. So we hope that you're available and want to come join, and it's just an opportunity to engage, mingle, network with other members of the Seafood HACCP community and the Seafood HACCP Alliance. All right, with that, we're happy to open it up for some questions. Anybody want to put them in the chat? And I don't know, Daphne, they have the option of unmuting.
They can raise their hand and I can unmute them.
All right, or raise your hand and we can unmute you if you want to ask your question. Oh, I think we covered everything. All right, well, you have my contact information on the slide if anything comes up after. I'll maybe stick around for another minute or two in case any questions come in. But just note, again, those changes, those dates that we've changed. September 1st, next big update, next big date to look out for. That's going to be the date that the basic course certificate fee increases to $60. That is also the date that you should no longer be collecting course completion emails for entry into your segment 2 trainings, because they should all be dated more than 9 months prior. All right, so hang on for just 1 second. I'm going to share an evaluation in the chat. I hope you guys can all complete that. Let us know your thoughts. Give us some ideas for future webinar topics. Ooh, I can't find the chat. But we hope to see you all again. And thank you all for joining.